Again, I want to thank each and one tuning in. Today is a series, going to be the first day of the series on restoration. Today, our text can be found in Psalms 126, 1 through 6. When the Lord turned again to the captivity of Zion, we were like them that dream. So many times we have dreams, we have goals, and sometimes we let go of those dreams. Then was our mouth filled with laughter, and our tongue was singing. Then said they among the heathen, the Lord hath done great things for them. When everything is going great, we say, great is the Lord, worthy to be praised. But when we're down and out, we're the first ones to really plead our case and start getting angry. The Lord hath done great things for us, whereof we are glad. Turn again our captivity, O Lord, as streams in the south. They shall sow in tears, they shall weep in joy. He that goeth forth and weepeth, bearing precious seeds, shall doubtless come again in rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with him. We can detect in the word of Psalms 126 a sign of relief. The release from captivity in Babylon was like a dream come true. The people knew about the promises to return to Israel, but when the actual moment came, it was an overwhelming experience. I think of returning home as military experience. I wasn't in the military, but you can think about it today. Think of returning home lengthy military deployments. They were finally home to see the family again, and life become normal. Taken from a songbook of the Psalms of Ancients, we see reflection, looking back on a verses 1 through 3, anticipation, looking forward to the harvest and restoration, verses 4 and 6. Have you ever known a sour Christian? We think of much who have been wrongly labeled as a stem, serious, or grim people. Think they never cried to smile. One particularly sober-minded person was as a saint who has never committed a pleasure. Verse 2 shows us how saints should look. Our mouths were filled with laughter. Our tongues were songs of joy. Rejoicing is the theme of this psalm. Joy characterizes the Christian journey. We're all on a journey tonight, and where that road takes us is up to us. A Broadway musical, Fiddler on the Roof, describes life as one season following another, laden with happiness and tears. Life includes sadness. Just being a Christian doesn't mean we should look serious all the time. It also doesn't mean we're always smiling. There's a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, Ecclesiastes 3 and 4. Joy is not the absence of sorrow. It is the ability to have faith and be thankful in the midst of all conditions. Joy is as unpredictable as the one who gives it. So much as that C.S. Lewis titled his autobiography, Surprised by Joy. Joy is the overcome of the Christian life. We don't generate it, God does. None of us have joy within ourselves. People seek to attain joy through entertainment, which offers temporary, artificial joy. The vast entertainment industry in our nation is a sign of the depletion of joy in our culture. Many people act like bored kings in the need of a court jester. I'm not saying it is wrong to be entertained, but it's foolish to think we will all find joy from entertainment. Joy is not a commodity. It can be purchased. We don't need a distraction from our stressful lives. We need a cure. The only cure comes from a living relationship with Christ. Our need for joy is legitimate, but how we get that need met often isn't. The joy of Psalms 126 is past, present, and future. We are filled with laughter and songs of joy. We are filled with joy and will return with songs of joy. Past, present, and future, that's what God sees. You know, so many times I will just share bits and pieces of what I've been through in my short 35 years on this walk of life. And some will say, how'd you ever make it? And I'll just say, by the grace of God. You know, I once had faith that could move mountains, and I once had faith that could raise the dead. But just like Job, that faith was tested. And just whenever I was about to just give up, one day I obeyed the Lord and just began to shout. Just began to scream, and I could feel all the angerness and bitterness leave me. That's what we've got to do. That's how restoration begins. It's just by simply letting go. You can't hold on to the past. You can't hold on to your problems. Sure, I've had a lot of things in my life. Sure, I've had a lot of obstacles. But I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I held on to those things. I just finished the 4,000th broadcast, and that's what made me look at the date and see what day it was, because I almost forgot about it. 4,000, you know, just a few months ago I was wondering. Yeah, I knew September the 19th was whenever God restored me back to 2010. And so I was keeping count of all my broadcasts. I thought, God, I wonder how close I'll be, what number I'll be at, right at that day. And I guess that's why God didn't let me remember it. You know, things happen for a reason. And as I was scheduling the 4,000 broadcast, I still didn't remember it. And as I was playing that song that I started out with, it was talking about how all the people, it started out talking about how all the people was wanting to see us fall. I can't count to you the amount of people that wanted to see me fall. I can't count to you the amount of people who would have loved to see me stay where I was. A wretched, a depressed person that wasn't obeying the Lord, that sat down in my ministry. For 2 years I sat down in my ministry. Started preaching when I was 20 years old. But for 2 years, people, I sat down. I preached a little bit when I was 30. But 30 was about the time I quit. 31 and 32, never did I utter a word. 31 and 32, did I ever preach a single word. I went to churches that did not know me, thinking I could run and hide. And I most certainly would not stand if somebody called for all the preachers to stand. Because I was broken. I was bitter. And I was angry. Most of all, angry. But when you let go of all that, God can forgive you. And God can bring that joy unspeakable and full of glory. And your restoration can begin today. A lot of you are in trials and tribulations because you're bitter and angry. As much as you don't want to admit to it, you want to hold on to it. And by not admitting it, that's how you're holding on to it. And you're letting the devil have a hold on your life tonight. Let go of it tonight. This joy is lavished on Israel, giving the nation a reputation of blessedness. Do you want to have a reputation of being blessed tonight? Let go and let God. Then it was said among the nations, the Lord had done great things for them. The nation refers to the heathen Gentiles, who has become convinced that Israel has something special that set them apart. A God who took care of them. He allowed them to be taken captive to preserve their ethic and spiritual identity. They returned them to the land of promise. So great was the act of restoration that the nations heard about it. Even without CNN or the internet, God's deliverance makes unbelievers stand back and take notice. And God's wanting to restore a lot of you today. The psalmist deliberately says, it was the Lord. It was the Lord who brought back the captives to Zion. Not King Cyrus of Persia, who is credited with the release of Jewish captives. In 538 BC, he signed an edict releasing the Jews, allowing them to return to their homeland. In Proverbs, we're told, the great heart of the king is in the hand of the Lord. Humanly speaking, the Persian king allowed Israel to return, but it was all a part of God's plan. The psalmist gives credit where credit is due. The Lord declares in Psalms 46, I will be exalted above the nations. The Gentile nations was impressed. They admitted that God had accomplished great things for Israel. What great things? The release from Babylon. But so much more. We discover that these great things are nearly every page of Scripture. Every divine act was a miraculous intervention. Eugene Peterson writes that joy has a history. Joy is verified.